And welcome back to whatever part this is. No, just kidding, it's part two. I know it's part 2, I'm joking. Okay, let's just get straight on with it.
So we're back after that big attack in the cafe diner.
Let's call it a cafe.
It says cafe there.
It says cafe 5 to something, which is a reference to something. I actually haven't a clue what that's a reference to. Notice that was the world's widest road. It's won awards for the width of the roads.
Assumably part of that is, so if you stand on one side of the street because of the fog, you can't see the other side?
Well, personally, what I think it is, my theory, is that the entire scale of the game's off.
One, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's the roads are wide sort of deliberately to do something with the fog. I think it's just a question of getting the scale wrong.
You can hear radio noises. There's something nearby. And we're gonna flee.
Taking the survival horror approach of ignoring the enemies. Probably for the best. I quite like the way in this you relive the dream as soon as you come out.
Yeah, you can go back as soon as you want. It's the same angles.
Which means you're kind of expecting a similar thing to happen. Of course it doesn't. Note here, Skyrim fans as well, that the snow actually falls on the ground and not through the ground.
Oh, this time there's different stuff.
Actually, it's amazing how much Silent Hill pushed the boundaries, which is odd because, of course, at the time of release, it was criticised for its poor graphics.
Yes, compared to Resident Evil, which opted for your backgrounds are pretty, but they're mostly just painted and your characters are running down corridors that aren't really interactive.
They're all pre-rendered, yeah.
She's at the school.
Just in case you didn't know how to open your map yet.
So it's a classic Silent Hill location number 1 with the school.
But of course in this one they're all fresh and new and not overdone yet.
They're starting it off on point.
That has actually received a little bit of criticism from the overly cynical Silent Hill people who sort of go, oh, but it looks nothing like him. Well, of course it doesn't. She's like a kid. That's what happens. He knows it's a picture of him because she'll have told him it's a picture of him. Picture of him? A picture of him. Oh, having a look at the map here. All these street names, by the way, are named after famous horror authors. And Michael Crichton, however you pronounce that, who I thought wrote books about dinosaurs. But apparently that counts as horror, so there you go. His books didn't even have Jeff Goldblum in them.
Yeah.
I like the films. Sam Neill's cool as well. Although he needs eyes for that film. 1,000,000 points to whoever got that, by the way.
We're fleeing once more from some pesky dogs. It's quite lazy in a way, how it points you to a new direction. It's like, to the school written on a bit of paper.
Oh, I don't know. I quite like that it has a good, strong sense of direction, rather than being sort of just an explore yourself kind of way, because you can do that anyway. But it's quite nice that it also tells you where you can get to. Aha! You see there's another classic Silent Hill thing of drawing our attention to something with the use of camera angles and things like that, rather than relying on a more modern and somehow less satisfying system of object highlighting.
Well, that can be annoying sometimes when the camera angle changes and you go in an unexpected direction because of the direction you're holding down on your control pad. So I think we've got two different options now, places we can go.
Although not really, of course, because we can't get to the school until
Yes,
we've
but
been through
it's
the
drawing
doghouse.
your attention to two different places.
Because in a sense, all of the Silent Hill games are linear, and that you still have to do things in particular orders to progress in the game. There's actually quite a few areas on the map you can get to at this point, although it's not immediately obvious.
I think our crackly noises is going to be the dogs by the doghouse.
Quite like the way the dogs and the bird creatures give a distinctly different crackle on the radio.
Do they?
Yes, although it later turns out that it's basically due to the movement speed. A slow crackle is a slow-moving monster. The flying monsters generally produce less crackly radio static.
House key hidden in the doghouse.
Not the house key, you may notice. There's no definite article there. It's just house key, which is called house. Oh no, it does have it there, doesn't it?
Yeah, it did.
Yes, and of course the house key looks like a car key.
Or a window key, it sort of looks like as well. Certainly not a door key. But then I don't know, maybe it's based on different countries' design.
Now, you might be in trouble there, because I believe that if there's still static, then the monsters haven't been kicked and killed properly, and that if you go back outside, I think they get back up. Here is another situation where we suffer from the scale problem of the game, where you could fit three Harrys abreast, if you'll excuse the phrase, within this one tiny little narrow corridor.
It's other things. It's like the table comes up very high up to where Harry is, which doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yes, tables generally aren't that high.
And the chairs are unscaled with the tables.
Note here is something else which is missing from the most modern Silent Hill game, which is the ability to examine your surroundings with the action button. Not that it's a lot of use a great deal of the time. But there you go. Look at the size of that Coke bottle. Yes, this makes Harry look tiny, because look how high he is compared to the cupboards. How would he reach those top cupboards?
Oh, how wide that fridge is compared to him.
Why is the fridge the same height as his head? I mean, it's a bit silly. And what I reckon happened is, I'll tell you in a minute, because he's going to have a look at this clue here to give more direction. There we have the 3 parts of the map which he has to get the keys for Eclipse. Why do we want the Eclipse? We're not sure, but it's relevant in name at least. So we need to get 3 keys for 3 locks.
not hearing any static.
No, I must have been wrong. The dogs seem to have disappeared in their entirety. As opposed to only little bits of them disappearing, like a nose or a left paw. Left back paw? And I'm afraid that's all we have time for, so we'll have to find out what happens with the keys for Eclipse next time.